I'm the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man, and I'm here to read the funnies to you happy boys and honeys. Yes, boys and girls, it's Comic Weekly time. And here I come right into your house to bring a little fun and happiness. Right out of the pages of Puck the Comic Weekly, straight into your living room, your friend, the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man. Hello, do-do-do-do. Well, little Miss Honey, how are you today?
Oh, I'm just fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, too. But you know, there's one question in my mind.
What's that?
Are you working real hard in school?
Oh, yes, I am.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because it won't be long now before the school year will be over.
No, it won't. Only about another month and a half, isn't that right?
Yes, and that means it isn't long until examination time. And that'll be your last chance to improve your marks this year.
Yes, I know. So I'm studying real hard so I can learn as much as I can before school gets out.
Oh, that's fine. I can see you want to get good marks.
Oh, yes, I do, because good marks are a sign of how well you've learned what you studied.
That's right. It tells you how well you remember what you studied.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're working real hard.
Thank you. Now, will you please read me the funny?
Puck the Comic
Yes.
Weekly? Very well, I'll read that in just a moment. But before I do, let's listen to this nice man. Now, here we go with Puck the Comic Weekly. And on the first page of the first section, under Bringing Up Father, Beetle Bailey.
Magic words for the music, please.
Very well, my lady. Toot me a toot and tweet me a tweedle. Squeeze out music for Bailey the Beetle. Half the guys in camp have been issued passes permitting them to go to town, but Beetle and Killer have to stay at camp. They're walking over to the camp service club. Beetle complains, "Why won't they give us all passes to town?" Killer replies, "Why, half of us are going to stay here for the security of the post." They start to cross the road just as a car approaches. But the fellows pay no attention. The driver swerves off the road to avoid hitting them and crashes into a telephone pole. You pedestrians! Watch where you're going! Last picture, top row. They're in the service club washroom. Beetle, who's finished washing his hands, turns his back on the running faucet.
Do you really think the camp would be in danger if we weren't here?
Killer suddenly exclaims,
Hey, you left your faucet on. The water's running all over the floor.
First picture, bottom row. They're relaxing on a sofa in the service club. Killer's saying,
You know, if we weren't on duty, anything might happen.
Beetle empties his pipe in the wastebasket.
Well, it's good to know we're here for some useful purpose.
Suddenly, Beetle hears the club hostess shouting,
Fire! Fire!
He looks around to see the wastebasket on fire. He and Killer dash for the fire extinguishers.
Hey, come on, Beetle, come on. It's a good thing we're around.
They turn on the fire extinguishers. The chemical squirts out all over the room.
Hey, turn that off. You're ruining my uniform.
Turn it the other way, you fool. The fire's over there, not my sweater.
Hey, throw those guys out of here, somebody. They'll wreck the place.
Last picture, Beetle and Killer have been brought before the sergeant by the military police. The sergeant is saying,
Here's 2 passes. Now get going.
But what about the security of the post?
The military police answers,
That's why we're giving you the 2 passes.
Oh, those boys. They always get into trouble. No matter what they do, they get into trouble.
Yes, and I think I agree with the officer. Everything is safer around the camp if Beetle's sent off to town.
Yes.
Nothing is safe with him around.
Yes, nothing is safe with him around.
Now let's see what's happening to Peter Pan. Turn over the page. Go past Little Iodine. Across page 3 past Prince Val. Turn over that page. And here on page 4 is Peter Pan.
Yes, Peter Pan. And you remember that Captain Hook, who hates Peter Pan, found Peter's hiding place.
That's right. Last week, the pirates captured all the children.
And then Captain Hook dropped the package down the hollow tree, and I'm sure there's a bomb in it.
Well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised because Captain Hook wants to get rid of Peter Pan.
And last week, Peter picked up the package, and I wonder if it will explode.
Well, let's read and find out. Here we go with Peter Pan. Say the magic words with me. Pirates, crocodiles, Peter Pan, whisk up music for Never Never Land. Unaware that Wendy and the boys have been seized by the pirates, Peter examines the mysterious package left by Captain Hook. He finds a note on the package.
To Peter, with love from Wendy. Do not open till 6 o'clock.
Little Tinkerbell, who had been captured by Captain Hook and made a prisoner in a small lantern, listens as the pirates bring the children aboard the ship. And she sees the children tied to the main mast. Then she sees Captain Hook take out a book and hold out a pen and say to the children,
Now, me hearties, the choice is up to you. Sign up for the crew or walk the plank.
Last picture, top row, Wendy answers proudly,
Captain Hook will not join your crew. Peter Pan will save us.
The pirates roar with laughter. Second picture, bottom row, Captain Hook walks over to Wendy and bows before her.
Pardon me, my dear, but you're not in on our little joke. You see, we left a present for Peter.
The captain's man, Smee, adds,
Yeah, a sort of surprise package.
Yes, indeed, my dear. It contains an ingenious device set for 6 o'clock, when Peter Pan will be blasted out of Neverland forever.
At last picture, Tinkerbell hears Hook's dreadful words. She frantically hurls herself against her glass prison, trying to escape.
I was right. I said a bomb was in that package, and I was right.
Yes, you were right.
And Peter was sitting holding that package in his lap. Oh, I hope Tinkerbell escapes so she can warn Peter not to open the package.
So do I.
Well, do you think she will escape?
Well, maybe we'll find out about that next week. I'll look across the page. There's Roy Rogers.
Oh, yes. And you remember last week, Roy learned that Snapper Sloan, the cattleman, had been leading the raids against the farmers.
That's right. Roy was hot on the trail of Sloan and his sidekick, Pete. And Pete looked over his shoulder and saw Roy approaching and warned Snapper Sloan.
And then Snapper Sloan pulled out his gun and knocked Pete subconscious. I wonder why he did that to his own partner.
Well, let's read now and find out. Here we go with Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys. Hi-yip-hi-yo. Now here we go with Roy and Trigger. Hi-yip-hi-yo. Snapper Sloan reins in and leaps off his horse. He drags Pete's body off the road over to a rock, then props it up against the rock overlooking the road.
Sorry I had to knock you out, Pete, but I'm going to use you to draw Rogers' fire. Then I can catch him off guard at no risk.
A few minutes later, Roy, who is following the tracks, comes around a bend. He sees the figure in the shadow of the rock. Hey, that looks like Sloan's sidekick, Pete, guarding the trail, Trigger. Roy fires. Pete's hat flies off, but Pete doesn't fire back. Roy dismounts, cautiously approaches Pete. Last picture, top row. Well, that's funny. I didn't even try to hit him. Yet he seems groggy. First picture, bottom row, Roy orders, All right, toss away your rifle, Pete, and start talking. Where's Snapper Sloan? Pete, who's coming to, drops his rifle and then says,
Hey, it's coming back to me. He conked me on the head when he saw you were trailing us. But why?
At that moment, Snapper Sloan steps out from behind some bushes, gun aimed at Roy's back.
Because I needed Pete for bait to get the drop on you, Rogers. Drop your guns.
Roy drops his gun and says, Well, now, before you put a slug into me, how about spilling why you want to run the nesters out of the valley, Sloan?
Farm fences keep steers from grass and water holes, Rogers.
Suddenly, Trigger, who's behind Sloan, rears up and knocks Sloan over. Now Pete reaches for his rifle. Roy gives the rifle a kick. No, you don't, Pete. Nice work, Trigger.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Just when it looked like Snapper Sloan was going to shoot Roy, Trigger knocked him over and saved Roy's life.
Yes, Yes, what a wonderful horse Trigger is.
Yes, and now Roy kicks the gun out of Pete's hands, too. I wonder if that means that Roy is in command of the situation.
Well, we'll find out about that next week. Now it's time for Flash Gordon. So let's go to the very last page of the first section.
Oh, yes. And here's Flash. And he's on the moon, you remember? And he's having lots of trouble.
Yes, you bet he is. He's encountered some space pirates who were under the leadership of a man named Mark, who had captured Zarkov and Dale, Flash's friends.
But Flash finally got his rocket ship back, and he escaped. And now Flash has a chance to fight Mark with good weapons. Oh, I wonder whether he'll be able to save Zarkov and Dale now and defeat Mark.
Well, let's read and find out. Here we go with Flash Gordon. Rig-a-dig-a-doon-doon, Saskamatas. Let's have music for Heroic Flash. Zooming his rocket high over the pirate stronghold, Flash telecasts an ultimatum. Mark, release Dale and Zarkov immediately, or your base will be blasted off the face of the moon. Mark's only answer is a burst of gunfire. Then Mark issues a command to his crew. Launch a pursuit rocket! The pursuit craft roars into the air. But this time, the pirates are not attacking a clumsy, helpless space freighter. Flash circles with a swift change of course. He blasts the pirate craft with a single lethal atom charge. Mark has seen what happened on his telescreen, and enraged by the loss of his rocket ship, Mark broadcasts a grim threat.
This is my last warning, Gordon. Land your rocket and surrender, or you will never see Dale and Zarkov alive again.
First picture, bottom row. Flash stalls for time. He pretends to follow Mark's orders. He points his ship down toward the moon base, and he says, "All right, clear the rocket pit for my landing." Gliding toward the rocket pit, last picture, Flash takes a desperate gamble. Changing course at the last moment, he aims his craft at the thin shell of the moon station as far as possible from the area in which Dale and Zarkov are held captive. Straight for it he dives. There is a thunderous blast and a blinding flame as the rocket rips into the moon station. Then all is deathly quiet.
Ooh, that was terribly, terribly dangerous. Diving that rocket ship straight down to the moon base.
Yes, I can't think of anything more dangerous than that. Flash really took a chance.
How could Flash ever crash like that and not be killed?
I was thinking the same thing.
Do you think Dale and Zarkov will be alive?
Well, that's something we'll find out next week. Now it's time for Dagwood and Blondie.
And here they are on the first page of the second section.
And I'll read them in just a moment. But first, here's that nice man again with something interesting to say. Now, here we go again with Puck the Comic Weekly. And on the first page of the second section, Dagwood and Blondie.
Magic words for the music, please.
Very well, my lady. Ramafoo, ramafum, zim, zam, zombie. Conjure me music for Dagwood and Blondie. Blondie and the kids have left the house for the afternoon. Last picture, top row, Dagwood is in the bathroom enjoying a soothing, relaxing soak in the bathtub.
Ah, peace and quiet. There's nothing so good for the nerves as to lie in a tub of steaming water and soak. Uh-oh, the doorbell. I'm in the tub. Who's at the door?
But there's no answer.
Oh, dear.
Dagwood climbs out of the tub and opens the bathroom window. Sticks his head out, first picture, second row.
Who's at the door?
A voice floats up.
It's Mr. Dithers, Dagwood. I have to talk to you about these blueprints at once.
A few minutes later, second picture, second row. Mr. Dithers is sitting on a stool beside the bathtub, showing Dagwood the blueprints.
Now, we'll send that set and keep this in our files.
And Dagwood, who's still in the bathtub, answers,
Yeah, that's the way I do it.
Now, if we can only figure out...